Before we go any further, there is something I need to say. What I am about to share with you did not come easily. It took almost an entire lifetime to understand. And it does not matter whether you pray every day or have never opened a holy book in your life. This concerns you. So please stay with me for a few minutes. Do not rush. Do not skip ahead. My name is John. I am 78 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I have wrestled with one question that I believe every person asks at least once in their life. What do I actually believe? I grew up in a household where Sundays were not optional. We were in church every single week. My father was a deacon. My mother taught Sunday school. I memorized scripture before I learned how to tie my shoes. Back then, everything felt clear, certain. The answers were there in black and white. And if you had doubts, you kept them to yourself. But here is what no one tells you when you're young. Life does not care about your certainty. It comes at you with experiences that do not fit neatly into the answers you were given. When I was 23 years old, my brother died in a car accident. He was a good man, better than me in many ways. He helped people. He was kind. He was generous, and he was gone in an instant. I remember standing at his funeral, listening to all the familiar words about God's plan and a better place, and for the first time in my life, I felt angry, not sad, angry, because none of it made sense anymore. That anger started something in me that I could not stop. I began asking questions. Real questions, not the kind you ask in Sunday school where you already know the acceptable answer. I read everything I could get my hands on. The Bible, yes, but also the Quran, Buddhist texts, Hindu philosophy, even the writings of people who did not believe in anything at all. And here is what surprised me. Every single one of them contained something true. Every single one. I met a man once, this was many years ago now, who was a devout Muslim. We worked together, and at first I kept my distance. I had all these ideas in my head about what that meant, what he must believe about me, about my faith. One night we were working late on a project. The office was almost empty, and we started talking. Really talking. He told me about prayer, about charity, about humility, about surrendering to something greater than yourself. And as I listened to him, sitting there late at night, I realized something quietly unsettling. He was describing the exact same longing I felt every time I knelt to pray. The words were different. The rituals were different. But the hunger was the same. I know what some of you may be thinking. You may think I am about to say that all religions are the same, that it does not matter what you believe as long as you are a good person. That is not what I am saying. Not at all. Because here is what I have learned after 78 years. The differences do matter. They matter because they are different ways of trying to understand the mystery of existence. Different languages for talking about things that are almost impossible to put into words. But there is something that matters even more. Every religious tradition I have ever studied returns to the same core truth. Love people. Help people. Do not be cruel. Be humble. Admit that you do not have all the answers. I have been to Jewish seders where I felt the weight of thousands of years of survival and tradition. I have sat in meditation with Buddhists and experienced a stillness I did not know was possible. I have worshipped with Pentecostals whose joy would have made my old Presbyterian pastor very uncomfortable. And every single time I found something real, something genuine, something pointing toward truth. But I have also seen the other side. I have seen religion used as a weapon. I have seen families torn apart because someone married outside their faith. I have seen teenagers thrown out of their homes for asking honest questions. I have seen prejudice justified, cruelty committed, and wars started in the name of God. And every time it breaks my heart, because that is not what any of this was ever meant to be. When I was 50 years old, I went through a crisis. My marriage was struggling. Money was tight. I was drinking too much. One night at 2 in the morning, I stood alone in my garage and did something I had not done in years. I prayed. Not the kind of prayer I learned as a child. No verses, no formal language. I just spoke. I said, I do not know if you are there. I do not know if you are listening. I do not even know what I believe anymore. But if there is anything real out there, I need help. I cannot do this alone. Nothing dramatic happened. No voice from heaven. No miracle. But the next morning, a neighbor I barely knew knocked on my door and asked if I wanted to get coffee. We talked for hours. He told me about his own struggles, about getting help, about resources I did not know existed. Was that God? Was it chance? Was it human kindness? I honestly do not know. And here is what I have come to believe. Maybe that is not the point. The older I get, the less certain I am about the details. I do not know what happens after we die. I do not know which prayers are the right ones. I do not know which day is the correct Sabbath. And I am at peace with that now, because what I do know is this: the mystery is bigger than us, bigger than any book, any building, any tradition. And the right response to that mystery is not certainty. It is humility, it is wonder, it is awe. I watch young people today walk away from religion, and I understand why. They have seen hypocrisy, they have seen judgment, they have been hurt by people who claim to speak for God. I get it. But do not abandon the search for meaning just because someone gave you bad answers. Do not stop asking the big questions because the well was poisoned. You do not have to accept everything you were taught. You do not have to stay in a tradition that does not feed your soul. But do not stop searching. That longing for meaning is not religious programming. It is human. I still go to church most Sundays, not because I think it makes me better, not because I think I have to. I go because there is something about gathering with others, singing together, sitting in silence together that nourishes something in me. But I also meet a Muslim friend for coffee. I read Buddhist teachings at night. I learn from atheists who have thought deeply about ethics and compassion. And here is what all of this has taught me. The point is not to have the right answers. The point is to remain curious, to stay humble, to recognize that every person you meet is carrying a piece of the truth, especially when it looks nothing like your own. My wife passed away 3 years ago. We were married for 52 years. In her final weeks, she asked me if I thought we would see each other again. I looked at her and said, I do not know, but I hope so. And if there is any justice, any love at the heart of existence, then yes. Was that faith? Was it hope? Was it denial? Maybe the difference is not as important as we think, because the most important thing is not what you believe. It is how you treat people because of what you believe. If your beliefs make you more loving, more compassionate, more humble, then they are doing what they are meant to do. If they make you judgmental, cruel, or afraid, then something has gone wrong. And that is true whether you are religious or not. I am 78 years old. I may have another decade if I am lucky. And I am still learning, still asking questions, still being surprised by where I find meaning, and I would not want it any other way. So wherever you are on your journey, deeply religious, skeptical, or somewhere in between, know this. Your questions are valid. Your doubts are not weakness. Your search for meaning is one of the most human things about you. Do not let anyone take that away. And if this meant something to you, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me what you are questioning or reflecting on right now. I read every one. Sometimes it makes the silence a little less heavy.